because right now everyone is so focused on the tariffs, everyone is so focused on the economy. And the reality is, if we really wanted to, we could spend an entire episode talking about the tariffs and the economy, which we actually discussed pre-show. Like, maybe we should do this episode.
Well, the reality is, if I may, the reality is nobody has any idea. Nobody has any stinking clue. Because let's just get to the base of the base. The world is a complex system. With any type of complex system, the outcome can never be predetermined in a complex system. Like, just because we have this lever called tariffs doesn't mean that we have any knowledge or foreknowledge of how that's going to affect the macro economy. At the end of the day, Europe could say, no, sir. China could say, yes, sir. Right? Africa could say, no, sir. We have no idea how people are going to respond. So at the end of the day, we have all these pundits, we have all these technology people, these political pundits, these social pundits that are saying, tariff this, tariff that. The reality is, you have no idea, sir, any idea of what's going to happen. But it does look like Trump, according to the pundits, is intentionally tanking the economy for, accordingly, the purpose of rebaselining our debt.
Maybe he was. Maybe he thought that far ahead. Maybe it's you thought that this would work, and maybe he didn't even think that the economy crashed. Maybe he thought it would just fix everything. No clue.
Nobody has any idea.
But this is a game he's playing. There's nothing we can do to stop that at this point because the cards have been laid and played. So in 1 year, the economy is either be great or it's going to be absolute dog shit.
Well,
these are your options. You're at 50-50.
Well, can I back up a little bit, though? For us to say that the economy is dog shit based on stock market
Correct.
is foolery.
Yep.
What percentage of Americans, 350 million large, what percentage of Americans are actively engaged in the stock market, Matt? The answer is like 1%.
My wife, I woke up the other day, my wife was on the phone with a bank and she was calling banks going, what's your CD rate? I was like, because she has like her own stock portfolio. I couldn't believe it. As soon as I woke up, she was trying to call banks to get CD rates because she was like, maybe I need to move my stocks.
Really?
That's what she was thinking.
Well,
I was like, holy shit.
Then you're one of the 1%. The reality is the vast majority.
Well, normally it just sits there. It's been sitting there for years.
Yeah, and
all of a sudden.
And she should just let it sit there.
Yeah,
there's no need for action here.
I'm like, dear, you got really lucky, and she bought a bunch of Nvidia a few years ago, like 2020. She bought Nvidia.
Should have bought Tesla.
I think Tesla, Nvidia, and Microsoft.
Oh, she's making bank.
So I was like, relax.
Yeah, chill,
You'll
homie.
be fine.
Chill, homie.
You did
good.
really well.
You're fine.
Wife,
Yeah.
love you.
Yeah, you fine, girl. You fine. And so I just find it fascinating that everyone's all up in arms about the economy based on this one factor called the stock market. The majority of Americans aren't involved in the stock market. So for us to have this psyop that the stock market's down and therefore the world is going under, it's like, actually, no. Not at all, actually, sir. Only the 1% that are actually involved in the stock market are the ones that are doing all these these television shows saying the world's ending. And the reality is the stock market has very little bearing on the daily lives of a regular American today. It's the way that I see it.
I think that it's very easy to focus on stocks as an indicator of success.
Yeah.
But the reality is that's a very external way of looking at your money.
And it's
your
a
supply.
lagging indicator.
I think really what people need to do, and almost every single podcaster or every news is focused really on the numbers of the stocks. But that's actually not providing value to your real daily lives.
No.
Just a quick break before this video continues. If you haven't signed up for Soju yet, go check it out, soj.oo. It's a social discussion platform that we've created. That's where the community is hanging out. Definitely worth checking out, soj.oo. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, do it now because you can spend your entire life, you can spend your entire day worrying about all the indexes, worrying about where it's going up, it's going down, it's red, it's green, etc. I'm investing in this. The reality is that you have full control of your life. You have full control of the direction of your life. And instead of spending so much time focused outward, I think we can take today to focus inward. Because I think everyone's trying to get you to think about what's going on in the external world. And yes, it's important. But people are losing sight of the things that they can control because they're spending so much time focused on things that they cannot control. So that's kind of what I want to do today. I think that would make us the outlier in this discussion, talking about tariffs and economy, because again, everyone's focused on things they can't control.
Yeah, which is again much ado about nothing. Can you control that Trump's doing tariffs? No. Can you control that Africa said yes and China said no? No. Should you get upset about any of the things that are happening? The answer is no. Close your door, turn off the internet, turn off the mobile device, and get to work.
Get to work. Well, for some people, if you want to get to work, you need the mobile device, you need the computer.
Get to work.
But get to work.
Get to work. Right, and focus on that which you can control, I think is the theme here, right?
I think we're in a day and age, because a lot of people ask, Matt, like, I want to start a new business, or I want to do something else, or I'm stuck in this kind of rat maze, and I'm kind of grinding, my job sucks, and I want to do something else to better my family, but at the same time, I'm stuck where I am. And my answer has been pretty consistent over the years, which is that we live in a day and age where through technology, you can learn anything that you want to learn.
Anything.
If you spend 3 hours a day for an entire year and focus on one thing, and if it's one thing that you actually enjoy and you like and you care about, even better. If you spend 1 year to learn and become an expert in that one thing that you care about, because then you enjoy it, in 1 year, you'll have an idea for an amazing business.
Yes, and if we can, because you're a successful businessman, and what's nice about the Matt Kim podcast is we're building in public, and so you can go back to episode number 1, and you can see how janky and how awkward and how autistic and how we were feeling our way through. And so, what's great about building in public and building the Matt Kim podcast in public is you can see the steps that we took to execute upon this idea. And so the short answer is just go and do it.
Yes.
And don't quit. I feel like that's the answer for pretty much 99% of everyone's problems is pick something and don't quit. I think we have too many people who start today. We have too many starters, not enough finishers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I think that people...
It's easy to start.
Yeah, it's easy to have a decent idea.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't be a world-changing idea.
Yeah.
But like, I would really like to have this type of business, XYZ business. And they get through like month 1. And they're like, it's a little difficult.
Yeah,
it's not working.
It's harder than I thought.
It's not working exactly like I thought in my mind.
Yeah.
And like, and then all of a sudden you drift and you start watching too much Netflix again. You start watching too much YouTube again. And all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to do something else.
Yeah.
You don't go through the difficult part, which is that anytime you have an idea, it's just a spur. It's just the beginning. That it's not officially hashed out because you don't know a lot of the pitfalls you're going to see along the way. And you get in, you hit your first kind of resistance, and you're like, this is not exactly what I hoped for, and you give up. Yeah. That's the time that you have to double down and try harder.
Yes.
Because, again, you can learn anything you want in life if you choose to do so. This is the biggest luxury that this generation has, this timeline has, over any previous generation.
We are at the lowest cost and lowest risk of failure today than any other point in history.
It is literally free to learn whatever you want in life.
Yeah.
You can literally take MIT classes for free.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
You can learn how to do literally anything you want on YouTube for free.
Not wrong.
YouTube University is actually phenomenal.
Not wrong.
It's the best university in the world.
Yes.
Because it's free.
I tell my kids to go to YouTube before they go to anywhere else because that's how you learn. Other people showing you how to do it.
And everyone at the end of the day has 3 hours to spare if they really choose to do so.
They truly do.
If you just turn off your apps, you turned off your doom scrolling, you turned off the bar, you turned off your ball sports.
Stop playing with your balls.
Then you can find 3 hours a day. And the reality is most people in their real jobs only work 3 hours a day anyway.
No, not wrong.
So there are 3 hours a day to find. If you do 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, 21 hours a week, and you do that over the course of a year, you will become an expert in something.
Yes.
Thanks for watching the clip. If you want to see the full episode, click here. If you want to see more clips, click here.